had my rental property with you guys and then my home with another company. I won't say their name.
Okay.
And I got a check back for escrow, having too much in my escrow on the rental property. And then I owed more on my own property. So there we go. I saw on the website you guys had an 85% success rate. So
I think
that's
it's
awesome.
I think it was 83. Like I have in the presentation, and then we went to 85. So we almost always get results.
That is awesome. Yeah. I had 10 clients sign up last year and there was about 194,000 reduction.
hmm Yeah, the numbers get big. It like after you get the lifetime, you can get some $1 million numbers on there as you build your portfolio, and it looks really good.
Cool. Well, I was happy to see that. So I moved my house over because that was kind of one of the questions I had for you. We'll just get started. Rebecca's here also, and she's my neighbor. Rebecca, did your property taxes go up?
Yes, substantially.
Yeah,
Travis went up this year.
down market because the market moved down, 15% in our area
And
last.
the values, so we're the company that actually gets the first preliminary values because our algorithm is pulling data 24/7. And so Travis, I think it was really soft, but then like Williamson went up 4%, which is really strange for them because they're usually pretty consistent. But we're seeing increases across the board. And the scary thing is that like Tarrant County, where I was at a class there today,
Yeah.
they are sending letters out to their residents telling them, hey, we're not going to increase your value for this year. They're rolling values. I don't know if it's for every single homeowner or sometimes, they do it in sections, but they're telling them, hey, we're not going to increase your value. When your taxes go up, don't blame us. That's what their letter essentially says. And that's because the taxing entities are increasing the taxes like crazy, especially in Travis County. That might have been one of the worst counties we saw last year. It just depends on which neighborhood you're in.
Yeah, I was surprised because wasn't there some type of law or bill or something that we voted for that was supposed to help lower it? And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, I owe more, like for the first time in a long time in a down market. It was super confusing.
Yeah. And so with 2023, there's legislation that happened. And like the big thing was an increase in the homestead from 40,000 to 100,000. And then from what we're hearing from our legislature, and we're pretty well connected, is that this year is going to be 140,000. So there should be, it's a credit. So there should be savings there. And with the soft market, you think that everyone would have saved money, especially on the homestead, which in your case is like surprising since your rental property seems to do better. But it's the taxing entities just, the increase to make up for it. And it was in anticipation of the legislation because they're going to make their money no matter what. And if that means increasing their rates, that's what they're going to do.
Oh my goodness. It just doesn't seem right at all.
Nope.
Yeah. So remind me again, like how long have you guys been in business and doing this? Because are you newer? I know we've had some established people around here. So I've been introducing your company to a lot of new people with promoting
Yes.
the seminar.
Yeah, we are. I guess you could say we're newer. There's a lot of new companies coming into the market, but you have your old traditional companies that charge way too much, kind of have an old school method. We were the first company to break away from that. We launched in 2020. We started off as a software company selling our software to tax agents that we actually still do. And that part of the business is still doing well. But 85% of Texas owners don't protest their property taxes. And that's how home tax shield came about. And originally it was just a concept. And now here we are in 2025 and we're blowing up. And it's because we're the most advanced software out there. We use local agents who have 15 to 25 years of experience that have relationships with those counties already. So when they go in, and you mentioned our success rate is phenomenal, and that's why.
So I have a lot of clients, past clients, and just people contact me when they want to protest it themselves. And they'll ask me for comps. The question is, what are the benefits to maybe using you versus DIY? What are the success rates for people who do it themselves versus you?
With the success, you have to think about what we call success is actual tax savings, not reductions.
Mhm.
And so if you go in and protest, you should be able to get a reduction. But if you have some sort of homestead over 65 exemption or a cap or a credit, that might cover it. So you won't actually see tax savings. So our success is actual tax savings, less money going back into the owner's pocket, which is, I think we're still the only company out there that considers the actual success, which is how it should be. If you're going to do it yourself, which I've done before, I'm an attorney by trade. And the first year I had my home, I went in and protested. I got my evidence together, photos. I had my comps, my comparative market analysis all ready, my argument, and the county just doesn't look at any of that. Especially, I think everyone here is in Travis County around that area. They don't look at that. There's a few counties, smaller counties that will, but the bigger counties don't. They have their own algorithm that, like at Home can actually reverse engineer. So we know that we use that against them. But if you don't have that data, it's impossible to bring a good comparative market analysis. And if you're bringing sales data from MLS, you are providing that to the county appraisal district, who is going to save that data, and they're going to use it against you next year, and they're going to use it against your neighbors probably this year.
Oh, wow.
So it's, yeah, you want to, I have people tell me they always have success and they actually enjoy protesting, maybe like 1% of the people I talk to, but they are out there, and any protest is better than nothing. You have nothing to lose. You should protest no matter what. Your results are going to differ if you're going in yourself versus using a professional.
Got that. And if they did go in themselves, I think I read something in the notes, like by law, they can't take the value up, right? So there's,
Mhm.
okay, got it.
And I get the question all the time. My house is undervalued, or I have a rental property that no one knows about on the property. They have drones and satellite images. The value is going to go up eventually. The county has 2 years to go back, and they will send you the bill.
Oh,
So
wow.
so they find that rental property or whatever improvements you made, and you think, I'm not protesting because they're going to hide it. They'll bill you for that later.
So what are some of the secrets to your success, you would say here with this 85% reduction rate?
And it comes down to two things. The biggest thing is our software. Since I'm an attorney, I actually can go in and protest. That's like, I'm not one of our agents or anything like that. But last year, they sent me in to troubleshoot some counties. And so we had one county that we didn't think was taking care of our clients. They weren't responding to us. And they sent me in as a lawyer. I put my lawyer hat on for the day to go in there. I wasn't expecting the protest. It just happened. Ended up there for 2 days, literally sun up to sundown, dealing with about 200 properties. And I was using our software, which comes out as our evidence package as a grid. It looks like a CMA with a lot of math inserted to it. Like there's 40 to 50 different data points you need, depending on the county, to insert. And the county told me, like, we've never seen evidence like this. And I got reductions on 199 properties out of 200. And the one I didn't get a reduction on was very undervalued, and I had no argument. So our evidence grids, and it's not just the county I was in, we hear that all the time. That gives us a leg up. No one else has that out there. And the fact that we use local experienced agents who have good relationships with the county helps us tremendously. Almost all the counties we actually have good communication with. We meet with them regularly. And, it's not like a trial where it's very combative. They know we know what we're talking about. They listen to us. They use our evidence. And that's how we're able to get such good results for our clients.
I just want to make sure it's clear when people are deciding whether to or use a professional, that's the difference. That data that you have, that evidence, you're able to know which homes in the neighborhood have already been lowered, right? Which is supposed to be public data, but it's not.
So our system 24/7 scraping the CADs, and we're bringing all their data. We're getting all their algorithms, and sometimes we'll actually correct their mistakes. And I've seen the county makes mistakes all the time, which is very scary, but it's very common. And I've seen properties where they're about to have pay double their taxes that year. And our system caught it and was able to fix it. So that system running 24/7 is Yeah. That's kind of our bread and butter. Like that's our leg up on everybody else.
Wow. I get this question a lot. The easy button. Do you want to protest this? What do you think about that? Do you think people should do that or they should hire you? Hire your
I definitely think you should hire us, but if they're going to protest themselves, it's going to take between 6 to 12 hours to get your evidence together, all your documents, your argument, and then you have to commit to about 2 to 3 months of sort of litigation with the county in regards to you have to have your formal hearing, your informal hearing, and worst case scenario is if you don't file in time, then there's nothing you can do at that point.
Does it cost anything to do it yourself?
No,
No,
it's
not at
absolutely
all.
free.
And if they signed up with Home Tax Shield, what is the process? I know I've signed up 2 properties now, and I know it's super fast, but I want to hear it
Right.
from you. What's the process to do that and the cost?
Yep. It takes about 2 minutes, maybe less, because our system's going to pull your property data automatically. If you go to Laura's partner link, you click it, you start typing in your address, they'll pull your property. You can sign up in less than 2 minutes. Typically, our fee is $30 to sign up and a 30% success fee. If you click Laura's link, it's only going to be $15 for the first year. You get a 50% discount. In regards to our success fee, what's to note is actual tax savings. If you're not saving money, there's no money going to your pocket. We don't consider that success. But for example, let's say we save you $1,000, then our success fee would be $300.
Got that. Yeah, that's what happened with the other company. They kept charging me, but there was no tax savings. I kept getting a bill. And they're like, why is this happening? My
Yep.
taxes went up and you're charging me. It's interesting.
And when I see that all the time, it's because they have catch-alls. It's one of those things, read the fine print. I don't believe it's ethical. I started here in 2022, and it's kind of blown me away at how unethical it's been. And at Home Tax Shield, we're trying to change that, but we have a long way to go because you have companies that won't actually show up to protest if they don't think they can save money. And then you have the fine print where if you don't actually save money, they're going to charge you on a reduction. If you don't have a reduction, they have a minimum fee.
Mhm.
I've seen so many invoices from people being charged even over $1,000 multiple times, and they're not actually saving any money. So it's one of those industries where you have to be really careful. And until Home Tax Shield really pushes everyone to be ethical, buyer beware for sure.
Got that. So what kind of mistakes are you seeing? Are you guys catching? Just curious about that.
So with those data points, when the 40, 50 data points, they mess up square footage of your home all the time. They mess up the acreage of your property, and land is the hardest thing to protest. So that actually could be a really big mistake. I had a friend who was building a property and he had just the structures, no roof, no windows, just the 2x4s and hooked up. And they either did satellite or they flew a drone over his home, and they taxed him with a full house on that property, which probably quadrupled his taxes. I believe it maybe even more because they put that as improved and it wasn't even nearly close to being finished.
Got that. I've seen the square footage wrong in the county quite a bit. Like, just when I'm even listing a home, it's on my checklist to be like, well, let's not use that number because most of the time it's wrong. Really, the measurement from an appraiser, if you got an appraisal, is probably the best thing to use, unless they're lower and you want to keep your taxes low, then you probably shouldn't say anything, right?
But if they do have the wrong square footage, you can correct it with the county. It's not something that we handle, but you can call them and it can take up to a year. Like it's a process, but eventually they will correct it. You might have to get a new survey or appraisal to do that.
What's the latest with exemptions? I was seeing some posts on Nextdoor about over 65 exemptions. Something was happening, and I don't know. People are just a little up in arms about it. Seems.
Yeah. So with 2023, which, Governor Greg Abbott said was the greatest property tax relief in Texas history, which I believe it was, we saw big increases like the homestead that I mentioned earlier, going from 40,000 to 100,000. And then this year, what we're hearing, we're pretty well connected with the legislature. So we're pretty confident it's going to be to 140,000, which will provide greater relief for your permanent residents. In 2023, they put something in called the circuit breaker, which operated similar to the homestead, where there was a 20% cap on any property, residential or commercial, less than 5 million. It did provide a lot of tax relief, but from our conversations with the counties and even the chief appraisers, they didn't know how to implement it. I'm not sure every county did, and it expires in 2026, and it's likely going to expire. There has been some talk about lowering the homestead from 10 to 5%, but at least from what I've heard, there's not much movement on that. They're focused on school choice for this year.
Got that. We have a question from one of our many attendees here.
So one question that came up when they're looking at choices, what is the tax protest versus the tax protest plus option when you sign up? What's the difference there?
Oh, yeah. So we actually launched this last year. So we have our standard package, which is your full service protest. It actually is the cheapest full service protest in the nation right now. The standard plus it includes title monitoring, which means that if there's a change to your title, we'll let you know. It's been a hot topic, actually in Travis County too, where people are stealing titles to homes, especially if there's no mortgage. And so the Protest Plus, it comes with title monitoring. And then we have an expensive package of $300, and that comes with the title monitoring. We help with reclaiming your title if needed. We help with exemptions. So it's kind of a full service package. With the title monitoring, what I will say, since I used to be a prosecutor, it is one of the easiest things to steal title. So it is something to be wary of. There are companies out there, so we don't advertise this much because we think they're kind of preying on a certain category of people. But it is something to look out for, especially if your home's paid off. There are predators out there. It's getting more common, and it's just going to get worse.
I have actually heard about that. That is insane. Like a house being sold, like right out from under someone. Yeah, just okay. So title watch, good to know. What else should we be aware of this year with the property taxes? And when should we get this done by, if we're going to hire you or DIY?
Yeah, as soon as possible. The deadline is May 15th. Unless you get a late notice, they're not going to make an exception, but it's kind of a hardline rule. Make sure you file before May 15th, whether you're doing it yourself or whether you're going to hire a company to do it.
Got that. Okay. And then when do you find out? How long does the process take?
So with Travis County especially, is very quick. You might even see your results in June or July. Typically, the summer's when our agents go in and conduct the protests, and results come out in August. When you sign up with us, you can actually monitor the stage of your protest, whether we just filed, whether we're negotiating, finalizing negotiations, or it's completed. So we do give updates. And then once it's complete, we'll send you an email and let you know.
Does anyone have any other questions here? Is
So
title monitoring only for those properties without a mortgage?
No, it's not. What I was saying about that is if you don't have a mortgage, that means your property is more likely to be targeted. Those are easy to basically steal. You can do it in almost less than a day. It's kind of scary how easy it is. Make a deed and forge a signature. That's all you need.
I mean, there's so much fraud happening right now. Please do not wire any money without calling and double checking beforehand. You will get an email saying you owe this. It's happening in real estate a lot too. So
yeah, it's always been around. The game's just changing.
Yeah, they're getting better and better at it, it seems. Well, awesome. Well, thank you. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to share with us about the process? If people want to sign up, it takes less than 2 minutes. It's super fast. People are like, oh, I got to get all this documents and yada, yada. You really don't. You just get your address in, and then it was super fast to renew. So yeah, 2 minutes to sign up. Don't spend 6 to 12 hours researching or asking me to spend an hour looking for comps for you. But I will. I'll help you if you know about this. I always do that. It is something when I'm like arming someone with comps, I'm like, well, you're going to do better if you hire a professional here, just like you hire a professional to sell your home.
Yep.
Same thing. Yep, for sure. Awesome. Does anyone have any other questions? And I'll get this link.
And I am sorry to everyone who didn't have the code to get in. Zoom failure and my failure here. But I'm glad for everyone who was here. Thank you so much.
Well, I think you recorded it, right?
Yep, we're going to share the recording
There we-
and I'll pull out clips because this is exciting stuff. You know, people get really passionate about property taxes. You know, we did an insurance seminar earlier too, because that's what happened to my mortgage. Like insurance rates went up and the property taxes,
It hurts.
and that it's rough and the market's down.
Property taxes are interested for 30 days. That's when 90% of people actually signed up to protest.
Really? How many
Mhm.
properties did y'all represent last year?
I'm not allowed to say, but we're
Oh,
talking.
Tens of thousands. Wow. You really know your stuff if you're doing that. And y'all actually go in and represent.
You actually get a real agent.
Yeah.
I-
God,
What happened to, you used to have on your site where you could put your address in and kind of get an estimate of what you were going to save. I saw that wasn't there this year. Did something happen?
we actually just, when we made that, which I liked because I like the transparency of it,
Yeah.
and it was always very conservative. Like we want to, under promise, over deliver. But with how the markets and then the tax rates are going, we didn't actually think it was ethical to even do that. Like we wanted to back away from that, make no promises. Obviously, we're going to do whatever we can to help on that protest. But that's what we pulled back from that, especially because I don't know if you've got that. I get saving estimates in the mail all the time that I know are completely inaccurate. But we want to step away from that, continue our ethical approach to the business.
I like that. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you for everyone who joined us. One more time, any questions? We'll send out the recording. If you have any follow-up questions, let me know, and we will absolutely help get them answered. Sam, thank you so much for your help and for being here tonight. We appreciate you, and we'll get people signed up.
Perfect. Thanks, Laura. I appreciate you going above and beyond for your clients. Love seeing these things. Y'all have a great evening.
Okay. Thank you. Take care. Bye, everyone.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.
I already signed up.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, super fast.
No worries.
I literally can see who saved what last year, and it's great. Yeah, already like 10 people and 2 of my properties were in there, and it was $2,200 saved. Pretty good. So thank you for being here.